just spent the last probably 20 to 30 minutes making sure the sound and all looked good. Welcome to Embrace the Madness. I'm your host Madeline, and it's been a minute, and I don't normally record pods at night, but I got like a wild hair, and here we are. So it either works or it doesn't work. You know, you're like, oh, I can't wait, I have to share this with you. And lately my creativity has just been meow. So I just kind of like catch on to ideas, and then if they are meant to work, then they're meant to work. And it probably would help to have like a setup actually situated, but here we are. It is what it is, and I just wanted to feel like I'm talking to you. So obviously it's been a minute. I think I've been keeping up with my collective tarot readings, but it's been a minute since I have posted a podcast. I started doing video, and so I might have found myself pigeonholing myself and being like, okay, well, you have to make a video or nothing. But at the same time, I've also felt like have been going through this crazy cycle, and it could have been several crazy cycles, but I finally feel like I'm coming out of it. And with the changing weather and seasons, I just wanted to talk about seasons change, and so do we. And really this idea of embracing the seasonal and cyclical nature of things has really helped me to get more rest, feel more focused, feel like just more on top of my life and stuff. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. A big part of that, I think, is having self-compassion for me and my seasons that I go in. And so it's very interesting when I find myself frustrated or whatever, I forget to give myself that grace of like, oh, well, maybe you're just not in that season, or maybe you have run yourself, through this phase, but it's time to chill, it's time to cool down, it's time to slow down, and forgetting to give ourselves that grace. But as things are, we learn over time, and we learn through experiences, and we learn through making mistakes, and we learn through living. Literally. So, is that a millennial thing to do? I've shared about, those seasonal metaphors of letting go of what doesn't serve you, fall, it's okay to shed your leaves, and things like that. And also feeling really on top of things and wanting to just like do and create. And yes, I said do. I actually said do. But we can't always expect ourselves to be in one phase, or, in this phase of creating. And that's not to say you can't create a lot. I'm just saying that holding ourselves up to these standards and expecting ourselves to create and expecting ourselves to be on all the time, it's just not sustainable, and it's not fair to ourselves. I think we're just so hard on ourselves. I've shared in the past this idea that productivity and creating is driving our society, or has driven in the past and led us up to this point. It's not sustainable. It's not reflective of nature. Do you see flowers out there just blooming all year round, nonstop? Not really. There are some that stay alive throughout the seasons. There are some that produce fruit part of the year, but you don't often see even grass. Grass dies out eventually. In nature, you'll see that things go through their own cycles, and things go through their own patterns and rhythms, and we are no different. We are these organisms made out of the same stuff, carbon, and we have to give ourselves more grace to move through these cycles and to move through these periods of rest or stagnancy or really anything, because we're going to move through them whether we want to or not. Something I've found is if I don't stop to take a break, my body sure as heck is going to make sure that I do. Either I'm going to get sick or I'm going to feel completely exhausted. And it's like there's nothing else to do except come back into balance and get that rest and get that sleep, get that chill time. And so all that to say, I have to remember to give that grace to myself, because I've definitely been going through, I don't even know where I'm at in the calendar, but it feels like I zoom out and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm moving through this cycle, but then it feels like I go through these mini cycles, and I don't know. I mean, this could also be parallel to the moon phases or other astrological placements, and we are in the middle of 2 eclipses right now, which is known to be a wonky void type liminal space. And yeah, it's funny because it never ends up the way you think it's going to, or you're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, oh, wow, I was caught way off guard. I had no idea this was going to come up or this was going to happen. I've recently leaving my most current job just for a new job. It just wasn't working out and I needed to move somewhere else. And like, there's a part of me that's freaking out. There's a part of me that was like, oh, well, what does that mean is next? What does that mean? Blah, blah, blah. And I feel like I've really been going through this career. It might be rock bottom. I'm not sure what it is, honestly. It's making me feel like I have like those things above my head, cartoons when they would like bonk their head, it would be like, nee. I definitely feel that. And it's wild because I've been calling in a career where I can have freedom and I really want to work for myself because I just want to be my own boss. That's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, I've just been calling in these things career-wise, and it's feeling like a path that I wasn't quite planning to take, and I'm having to surrender to that. While surrendering, I've just felt like it's like, am I in my winter phase? But I feel like I was in a winter phase a few months ago and things like that. So it's just like all of these, it's like big cycles and then little cycles. I really want to draw out the shapes that I see in my head, because I feel like it would be really, really cool geometrical visual thingies. But yeah, it's part of my human design too. If you look at your channels, there are different channels which are related to different things, and I have the channel of rhythm, and it's just all about cycles and cyclical things. There's a beginning, there's an end, and it just like keeps going. And I just feel like that is the key to the universe. I don't know. Like I've said in probably the first or second podcast episode, I don't know what's going on. I don't think any of us know what's going on. I think we can feel like we're really close, or we can feel like we have a grasp, or we can feel like we know, but more than likely, I think nobody knows. Maybe infinite intelligence knows, source, the whole, the biggest. But then does it ever stop? But yeah, if we think about our lives like seasons, we know that things change. It depends on where you are in the world, but oh, my white balance is like, oh. It depends on where you are in the world. Some have 2 seasons. We in Tennessee have 4 or 12. But the point is, things change and we go through phases and we go through cycles. The moon goes through cycles, the seasons, the stages of life of bugs or a caterpillar. That's a great one. Caterpillar gets in its cocoon, turns in a goop, turns into a butterfly. Butterfly dies, well, hopefully lays eggs but before it dies, and it starts all over. And when we can recognize that we have our own cycles present in our lives, we can begin to bring awareness to that and bring awareness to the different phases, but also bring awareness to what that looks like in our specific lives. Because we don't all have the same cycles. We don't all have the same patterns. We are all so unique and different. So we have to kind of pay attention to our own patterns and our own cycles. But it's like one of the coolest things that I've started doing, and it really is a lens that brings me a lot of peace and comfort when things feel weird. And the whole title of the podcast is Seasons Change and So Do We. Not only are we experiencing our own cycles, but we're also experiencing change within ourselves, especially if we're navigating or intentionally doing healing work or journaling or anything in that realm of kind of looking at our life and our life story and putting pieces together, healing, figuring shit out, healing from traumas and life and our childhood and all that stuff. And even if you're not like that intentional about it, you're still going through changes. Experience is going to bring about change in our lives. Going through different situations, overcoming challenges, we are all growing and changing. I think one truth that we can maybe all agree on is things are always growing and changing. Well, I don't know if we can all agree on that, but at least in biology, but we're always changing. And not only on a physical level, you know, they say that all of our cells change every 7 years. Can you believe that? All zillions of cells are just changing. Well, so are we on a spiritual level. So are we on an emotional level, on a mental level. We're always changing. The different conversations we have bring about change in our life. Going through different jobs bring about change. Going through life changes you. We are just forever molding and changing and growing. And well, when I do take time to reflect, lately it hasn't been very much. I've just been like exhausted and that's how you know a job is not working out for you. If you feel exhausted or like your soul is gone or anything like that. It doesn't have to be anything personal. It's just a mismatch. And I don't align with the narrative that, you know, work is supposed to be like that or that it has to. I'm just not. And you can call me anything you want, but I just know what working at a job that's not for me does. And if it doesn't light me up, it's like sucking my energy out. And that's kind of like a manifesting generator thing too. Human design is so cool. But I think I've been expecting myself to be the same. And let me break that down, I guess. I don't really know what I mean by that. But not realizing that, oh yeah, of course I've changed in a year. Of course I've changed in, you know, a few months. Of course I have changed. But that also means that I might like different things, or I might react differently, or I might want something different. And I think that's okay. But we can change, and there's nothing wrong with that. We actually kind of have to go along with it. Otherwise, we're creating resistance. And when you create resistance, you're like getting in the way of the flow. And just like if you are creating resistance in a river, that river is going to just like continue to flow and continue to push through. And that resistance is just going to be there, but it's almost like a pressure cooker. And there's like all of this energy that's building up. And that resistance is just, it's just like, ooh. And we have to allow ourselves to change. We have to allow ourselves to evolve. We must go with that flow and know that this is all part of the process. Just like how seasons change and life cycles happen, it's like this pattern. Life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth, rebirth, life, death, rebirth. When we interfere with these cycles, that pressure is building up. And so the more we can let go of this need to build this resistance and to resist change, to resist growth, the more pressure we are building. And in terms of all of this together and all of this happening right now, when we are going through these periods where it feels dark and where it feels weird and where it feels lonely and where it feels just not part of the plan, we must remember that this is part of the cycle. This is part of this whole entire process that is allowing us to change and grow and deepen that wisdom that we have. And even though these times can be frustrating and sickening and annoying, just as there is dark, there is light. And so I love this intersection of cycles and duality, because one of my favorite visuals that I need to draw is a sine wave. And sine waves go through cycles. They go up and then back. Wait. They go up, down, down, back up. And one thing is a complete cycle. And so it goes bloop, bloop, bloop. And it's this cool part of this cycle, but also this duality of needing to experience both sides. I'm thinking both extremes. And that's annoying. And that's where I've been lately. And like me accepting that the yucky is part of this cycle, I've been creating a lot of resistance to that. But I've also been becoming aware of it and trying to fall back on that deep wisdom that tells me that it's all part of the whole plan, which isn't the easy answer or always the fun answer. And I will say it's been helping me not lose my mind. And it's been helping me to really trust all of this and trust that I'm going to go through seasons. I can't expect life to always be amazing, but I will say that you can choose to look at things through that lens. But I have to allow myself to go through these periods. I have to allow myself to process these more intense things. I have to allow myself to change and to move and to flow into every experience, because that's what's natural. And that's what is going in the flow. When I resist what is, I'm responsible for like helping build that pressure because I'm not allowing what is be. But I'm also here to tell you that I know that it's not easy and it's not always our first instinct. And that's okay. We're human. We're learning and we're figuring it out. And bringing this awareness helps us to do it better next time, or to not be so hard on ourselves, or to give ourselves that compassion that we desperately need, that we're desperately seeking from the world around us, but not getting and not feeling like anything is enough. So with this change in season and change in cycles, remember that you have permission to be who you are and to grow and to change. I was going to say shrink, but I'm thinking of like, what's the word? Just morphing into who you are, and allow yourself to go through periods that are darker or that don't feel good, and know and trust that this is all part of a grander rhythm of a bigger cycle where you experience this and then you come out on the other side. You go through these periods of rest so that you can get to the periods of yield and creation, and allow yourself to take the time that you need to move through each phase, because we don't need to force ourselves to move any faster than we need to. And we don't need to rush to the next phase. You know, like when a caterpillar's in a cocoon, it's not like, okay, hurry up, it's time. I need to be a butterfly. And I feel like me, go through that feeling as humans. We're like, well, this isn't comfortable and I don't want to be here and it's time to go to the next. And it's like, well, it's not time yet. You still need to be here before you can be here. And I don't think this is like, oh, I get it now. I definitely think this is like it's like a sinking in. It's like they say, let it marinate. And it's just like definitely like marinating, oozing into our depths, because like that's the thing. We can hear something and we can know something, but it doesn't always click like a light switch. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes a lot of time. Sometimes it takes months, years. Sometimes we're not at that period of the cycle, and we need to rest and relax into the phase that we're in, whether we like it or not. Usually I know that I feel worse when I'm wanting to be somewhere else, to be further ahead. I have to be okay with the season I'm in, even though I used to be in a season where I created a lot, where I made a lot of podcasts, where I worked on music more. And like I was talking about at the beginning of the episode, I'm definitely allowing myself more of that space, but reminding myself that it's okay and that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and that when the time comes, it will be time. And if I'm not creating right now out of the joy in my heart, then maybe it's not time. And maybe I need more space. Let me get it. I can't remember if I got it from the Artist Way. Maybe sit in the creative void and allow it to open up to you. And that's something that I have been at least holding in my awareness. That void is, the creative void is somewhere that a lot of artists don't always want to be. When you're in that creative void, it feels like, oh, I can't create anything. I haven't created anything. What am I doing with my life? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we need that stillness and that quiet and that peace to be able to hear these creative inspirations and to be able to receive these creative downloads. But this is stuff that you don't know until you are like deep in the mucks and deep down in there. So really just the message with all of this is just to be open to yourself moving and growing and flowing and changing, and be open to the seasons changing, and be open to you experiencing different phases of your own seasons. And again, remember, we all go through our own unique cycles because we are unique. We are not like anyone else. Maybe your twin, but still, you and your twin are so different. Like, we all just have this unique magic. And so these cycles and phases are going to look different. That's why it's hard to compare our lives to anyone else's, because one, nobody really knows. And two, you're not like them. What works for someone else might not work for you. It might. There are, I feel like, these archetypal or kind of patterns that occur within the population. And I do think, on a lot of universal levels, we are similar universally. But yeah, give yourself permission to have more space and to have more graciousness. And yeah, don't be so hard on yourself. You're doing great. Everything's awesome. And it might not feel like it right now, but just remember that this phase is temporary. And that's the cool thing about cycles. They remind me that we are always moving through phases and change, and therefore one phase is not stagnant or permanent. It's temporary. Each phase is temporary, and it's going to keep being temporary. So you got this. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Trust yourself. Trust the process that you are going through, and trust in your seasons, and trust in your ability to grow and to change and to shift into exactly who you are supposed to be. I feel like it took a little time to like get in there, but I feel like it was a good one. And yeah, thanks for tuning into my night podcast. I just got new plants from Aldi and this cute one. And yeah, I appreciate you. Don't forget. Oh yeah, I will tell you, if you are listening this far, I did a podcast with Samantha from Goddess Awakening. I've talked a little bit about Goddess Awakening in the podcast, I'm pretty sure, but it's a festival and a group, an organization, a movement that I DJ'd. I performed at the first Goddess Awakening in 2022. And yeah, I talked to Sam a little bit on her podcast. We talked about kind of how we met, and she went with me to Dance Festopia that I dress up as Dorothy. And yeah, it's a really cool episode. You can just look for her podcast, Goddess Awakening. I might put it in the show notes if I remember. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. As always, you can check out my videos on my channel. And I would love to start posting on TikTok again. I have to trust my TikTok cycles. But take care of yourself. Take care of your heart and your mind and your body. And definitely your body. And I will catch you in the next episode. Bye.